Neil, tell us a little bit about your background and, of course, your early history.
Sure. I was born in Cleveland, Ohio in 1950, and I was the child of complete immigrants from both Hungary as well as Austria. That made for a very difficult childhood because my father was rough. He was very demanding. I grew up in Shaker Heights, Ohio, which got a great education, and went to Ohio State and ended up getting degrees in English, speech, theater, and British literature,
Oh, wow.
and telecommunication. I lived at Ohio State where I came out, and then in 1980, I moved to San Diego. I did not have a job, but I ended up getting a call from a friend of mine, Ed Graysick, and said that Tom Bosley needed someone to coach some athletes and a girl for a film in Los Angeles. I said, okay, I don't know if I can do that, but I'll try. I was 30 years old. And bottom line, he said, charge $150 an hour, required 3-hour minimum. Okay, that's a lot of money in 1980.
That's a lot of money back then.
A lot of money. And I did it. Tom Bosley was thrilled, and it turned out the girl was his daughter. Oh my God, did my life change. And I ended up running the theater department and created a television studio and trained students in every aspect of television. Next thing I know, I got some directing offers here in town. Things really went my way after Tom Bosley. I've ended up in the theater. I've ended up a little bit of video TV. I do have in my home an Emmy Award from one of my kids who's received 7 of them and thought I should have one. I've had 3 that turned out to win Tony Awards.
Wow.
Sada Ramirez from Grey's Anatomy and Sex and the City, Christian Hoff from Tommy, and Charles Brown from Motown. It's been pretty cool. That kid could have never guessed this was going to happen.
Tell us a little bit about the early life with your father. I know you said it was rough.
Nothing was ever good enough. He hit you before he talked to you. At 16, I remember him hitting me, and I hit him back. That ended that. But boy, when I left Cleveland to go to Ohio State, I consider that the year I was born.
Oh,
and again,
wow.
I learned when you have bad situations, you just have to get through it the best you can. Best you can. And bottom line, boy, was that a good philosophy.
Yes.
Because I couldn't have escaped it completely. Not today, maybe you sue your parents, but not then.
Not back then at all. So tell me then, when did you come to a realization in your life that you were gay or had same-sex attraction? When did that occur for you? It's usually it's a process. And when did that occur, and how did you deal with that with your dad and your mom?
You know, I was the mama's boy.
Mm-hmm.
If that's a stereotype, it worked for me. I was naive. I didn't know a thing. I'd never heard of it. I didn't know anybody. It was such a different time. I can look back and think, wow, in high school, there was a catalog called the Amen clothing catalog. And I don't know how I got that into the mailbox, but I had that. I should have known. When I was a senior in San Francisco, visiting my brother in the service, I went to some bookstore and I bought a thing called Sex in the Cinema. And I know I was looking at the men. I really wish I still had that. And just for old time's sake.
For a memory, huh?
I wasn't out through college. I'm sure I looked at men, etc. I did have a redhead girlfriend who I liked. I don't know that we never had sex. But after I graduated, I did have some friends who were gay. And next thing I knew, I was hugging and kissing one of them. And that's the opening chapter.
So that was the first time you ever acted on being gay.
Yes.
And you did. Was that the aha moment for you that you realized who you were authentically?
I don't even know that it was aha.
Okay.
I think it was just part of the journey.
Right.
So yes, and of course in a big way, yes. Mm-hmm. And I liked it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, well, the beautiful story with my mom is that she was watching TV one day and she called me and she said, I was watching a program and there was a gay mother and son on there. She said, honey, are you gay? And I said, Mom, I am. And she said in the most loving way, honey, do you have someone?
Oh, wow.
I know. And the part that killed me was I had to say, no, I don't. and she cried a little bit. And from then on, with her, it was fine. My dad, eventually I decided to write him a letter, which I still have. After he passed, I kept it. And I got a postcard back and said something like, no problem, or it's okay, or whatever. I am so lucky. So many people who are watching this, I'm sure, don't have that blessing. And that's really tough. But my European family all accepted it. Aunts, uncles, cousins. Unbelievable. Of course, that was by the 70s. When I called my older sister, she laughed. And I thought, what's so funny? And she said, oh, Bobby's also gay. And that's my other sister. And then she sent me the Billy Joel record, Love You Just the Way You Are.
Yes, I remember
which
that.
Really, we're like, wow. There are no stories of negativity. During the period where I had only one tight relationship, that was 12 years. Oh my God, they accepted him like, boom. So I'm really lucky.
You know what I think is fascinating about this whole thing is that you had a father who was physically abusive, someone you were afraid of at one time, and all of a sudden accepted you. Why do you think that was?
I don't know, with that generation, they didn't respect women. And my father periodically went to what was called the Schwitz. That was European, and that's a steam bath. Now, I don't think he was gay, but he hung out with men. He, obviously, in the steam bath was probably naked with men. And then they'd go to dinner, blah, blah, blah. I don't know, but something. Now, he never said he loved me. He never said it was wonderful. He said it was okay.
Did he ever tell you that he loved you?
Yes, as he was dying.
As he was dying.
Only as he was dying. Never, ever, no matter what I did, and they did see some shows I directed, never did he say, I'm proud of you. I built a home with a friend in Columbus before I moved here. We designed it, we had it built, and when he saw, because he was in heating and air conditioning, when he saw ours in a temperate city, he said, oh, this would never pass in Cleveland. That was his reaction to his young son building a home. Hey, I have grown to understand it all. Whatever it is, you have to accept it.
Mm-hmm. So let's talk about your children for a minute. You have
thousands.
Thousands. Yeah, you have 1,000 children. Tell us a little bit about your children and how they were able to accept that.
Because I taught at San Diego School for Creative and Performing Arts, as well as San Diego State, as well as Grossmont College, I've got thousands and thousands of people who've been under my tutelage, I'll call it. Also because I've done a lot of private coaching. Okay? So one thing that was great, I didn't plan on this in the sense of going there, but there were plenty of gay people, kids, at the School for Creative and Performing Arts. And so, of course, I embraced them, as well as everybody, by the way. Mm-hmm. And I'm still in contact with a lot of those kids, to the point that even now I'm having dinner for 3 gay couples, of which each one was one of my students, and they're in their 40s, 50s. But I have a family now of these what I call them my formers, my kids. Mm-hmm. And that's a blessing and a half. Because I've been single most of my life, my love all went to those kids. And I am grateful for that, because they're there for me now. And it's unbelievable. When I talk to people about the family I still have from that job. And again, when you direct, you're with people for, 8 weeks, 10 weeks. It's all good. I've never hidden my gayness. I don't flail it.
Yeah.
But everybody knows. Mm-hmm. And we talk about it when it comes up.
Yes.
That's no big deal.
Mm-hmm.
I've watched other people struggle. I've never struggled for a day.
But tell us about your brother and his relationship with his children. I think this is a fascinating story.
Well, yeah. I was out, my sister was out, and it turned out one of my brother's son is gay. He came out because the whole family had already been talking about it. He had a wedding in Florida. We all went to the wedding. It was beautiful. Again, all of that part of my life is charmed. I've been in the dump, as you say, and survived it because I learned about the power of now. Yeah, Mark is my buddy.
Well, and your brother accepted of that.
Oh my God.
Totally.
Actually, he had gay friends that, I don't know when they came out. I don't know that story, but it turned out that he himself, some of his high school friends who he stayed in contact with were gay and came out. He didn't care.
Hmm.
I mean, it's a miracle.
And it's also a gift. I mean,
And a
it's
gift.
It's a miracle and a gift. And what would you say the impact that your story has on different parts of our listeners?
You know, my life sounds charmed. Well, it wasn't charmed. There's been a lot of depression and a lot of low things, and I've been there, crawling along. This is how I've struggled and made it through. The Buddhists have something called what is, is. I got onto that a long time ago. And it is what you accept the now. Knowing that it's going to get better no matter what. It may only get a little better at a time, but it will get better. I had an experience in a therapy session where the therapist put me here, let's say, and he said, your young child is down here. Now I want you to talk to little Neil. Neil is over here. He's 10 years old, 11 years old. I looked at that kid and I started crying. And I said, dude, hang on. It gets better. It's not going to be perfect, but it gets better. And that changed my life, because what it is today compared to what it was is better. And I had the power to go through the whatever it took to get to the bottom, crawl up and move on. Although that was after I got out of the house. So I say to you, whatever you're going through today, I don't care, gay, straight, I love everybody. Bottom line, allow it. We all go through this stuff. I had cancer. They gave me 5 years. I got through it. I'm sitting here now, and as you can see, I'm 29.
And holding.
And holding. No, but that's the gift I got, and that's what I say to you. Hold on and embrace whatever you're going through, good or bad. It will stay good or it will get better because you got the power.
Wow, that is a great way to end that. I want to make one thing about prostate cancer that Neil and I talked about. Obviously, it was shocking to find out that he had that, but he paid it forward by being able now to form a group.
I have.
And to be a group of prostate survivors who can be open, feel free to talk about that. That's what I mean by looking at the positive and looking at the positive now. Moving
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Neil, you've been such a great guest. I want to thank you so much for your story. I know it'll have impact on many of our listeners as well. It's a pleasure listening to you talk, and you have an impact on so many on our podcast.
Love it.